Well, there is a new approach to Charlotte's housing crisis, an approach that means rent of just a few $100s a month and hope for working families who just can't afford to live anywhere else.
And it's a needed solution. Our Where's the Money team discovered Charlotte has only 11,000 affordable housing units. And as Nate Morabito explains, that's despite spending more than $218 million over the last 2 decades.
These apartments in East Charlotte could be the blueprint to helping change that. Instead of tearing them down, forcing the people here to move out and building new expensive housing in their place, one company's renovating the older buildings, holding on to existing tenants and promising to keep their rents low. Whether it's a building or a person,
there we go.
One's foundation can provide stability in crisis.
It brings me back to being a kid.
That's why you'll find Alice Hicks
That was a good one.
blowing bubbles on her porch.
When I have troubles, I don't have to think about them.
Housing is not one of those troubles. A comfort for a 66-year-old with health problems who lives on a disability check.
A wonderful relief.
Shamrock Gardens Apartments is her home.
When I moved in, they had a senior discount for $30.
The only place she could afford.
There is absolutely nowhere else I could go.
For every Alice Hicks, there are about 23,000 other extremely low-income families who don't have an affordable home because there's simply not enough apartments for their income bracket.
People that are really working in the service sector, the essential workers, there's the biggest gap in housing, and really that's really where most of the housing needs to be built.
Ismail Kayem is a housing attorney and advocate, concerned by how few affordable units Charlotte's built over the last 20 years with its housing trust fund.
It really hasn't made a large dent in that gap.
Especially for people making less than 30% of the area median income, around $25,000 a year for a family of 4.
Without there being constant pressure from below, a grassroots push and organizing, the money can be given to developers, and at the end of the day, we don't maybe have the result that we want to have.
Housing Trust Fund data show the city's accelerated the creation of those apartments in recent years at a greater expense after voters approved millions of dollars in housing bonds.
We're still not doing enough for 30% and below.
But even so, some city council members agree.
The 0 to 30%, they're in the hotels. They were in Tent City.
Charlotte's efforts are falling short.
We're not succeeding right now. In fact, we're failing.
Our analysis found several recent taxpayer-funded projects created the bare minimum number of 30% AMI units promised, but not Shamrock Gardens.
It's something that definitely gets me out of bed in the morning.
Mark Etheridge is a partner with Ascent Housing. The company's earmarked almost a third of the units here for people who can afford the least, keeping rents low through a pioneering program that turns their property taxes into rental subsidies.
I really want to commend the city and the county for believing us when we said that this would work. It has worked at past projects, and it's something that I think could be a model for the entire country.
Ascent is in the middle of an $8 million renovation here.
We're replacing every door, every window, putting new air conditioning systems into every single unit.
And has several other naturally occurring affordable housing complexes, also known as NOAHs, around town.
Any answer to the housing crisis has to involve building new affordable units as well as preserving NOAHs.
The idea is to build on a strong foundation.
You have to have a place to live.
Giving people like Alice Hicks more stability.
I just feel so fortunate that I found this place and got in while there was still a place for me.
And fewer troubles to think about. The City Council just approved 7 more Housing Trust Fund projects. Developers will use more than $12 million to create about 600 affordable housing units. Fewer than 25% of those will be for people who make the least. Nate Morabito, WCNC Charlotte.